must be true.
Join O꽍yemi Akinyode and Said Fuad on Midweek Politics every Wednesday, 1 to 3 p.m. on Mainland. Analysis on all matters around politics, policies, and governance.
But the saying is on neighborhood. What do you do in case of a crime or in danger or you see something suspicious? What do you do? Also, health emergencies come without warning. So, in case of an accident, if someone appropriate personnel by calling the emergency toll-free line on 112 or do when you call. Stay calm and speak clearly. Describe the emergency, give your exact instructions, don't hang up until you're told to, and very hard to make Lagos safer for everyone. This message is brought to you by Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
It's an amazing time to talk politics on radio or Mainland Focus or every other program, because we're talking about the one in Abuja. I was looking forward to seeing you in Ibadan because all things being equal, and we should be there at the National Convention of the PDP. I'm talking about Mainland FM to give you comprehensive coverage of the convention. So I was having a conversation with my friend. I said, I thought you guys are already making preparation to come to Ibadan. He said, that is not even sure if Oga will have gone to the APC before then. I burst into laugh. Governor of Bayelsa State, Governor Dᴏɪᴜ, officially after resigning from the PDP governors that have left Sheriff, then all the way to Enugu, so left the PDP and they've gone to the All Progressive Congress, making 20 will still continue to count because it looks like it's just about packing the baggages. Governor Agbu-Kefas, wave upon wave of the campaign from governors to senators to reps. Election is very much by the corner. Less than 16 months from now, Nigeria will go back to the polls again to start consolidating opportunities that periodic election provide for us in Nigeria. There's still that would be him 99 years. The 10 longest serving monarchs or president and hold on tight to power. Maybe again, something I've joked with for about 3 weeks now. Paul Biya became president of Cameroon, Shehu Shagari, and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and there's still one man. Put it this way, a 40-year-old Cameroonian had never voted president. I've seen a lot of them. In fact, from 1999 till now, I've witnessed 5. And I hope that it continues that way. Either 4 years like we saw or 8 years like we'd always see. So, welcome to the program. It's a midweek edition. And it's a bumper one. We have so much to talk about today. Yesterday, there were mayoral elections in some cities. About 2 years ago, I was on a panel at an event. And one of the things that we discussed was that maybe we should find a way to readjust our electoral calendar so that we'll have a means of checks and balance for the government at the central to, assess what they are doing at the local. And then we saw it yesterday, despite the fact that Donald Trump, the Republicans controlled the federal and even the Senate. But there were, checks for the Republicans, even the preferred candidate of him. And, it brought a lot. It would also feature a little on the menu for us today. Somebody asked that the reconciliation committee that was set up and headed by distinguished senator that on the show as well today, the 15th and 16th of November has been marked for the national. Then the chairmanship ticket of the party has been zoned field. Let us for Damagun to Debo Ologun Agba, and then just a whole lot of issues around the PDP. I was hoping Mr. Matthew could the 2027 election. Side forward is here. And of course, from the co-founder of Rethinking City Initiative, the Jackie is also here. And that means we talk about the multi-day last week. And we spent hours in that community moving around the sides of the community that have been demolished. I was there earlier on Tuesday as well. And we're going to talk about a lot of things. The talk of compensation, join us, side forward. It's another beautiful Wednesday. Elections in the US, checks and balance, and a reality check for Donald Trump, maybe.
Well, thank you for having me, O꽍yemi, and it's nice to be in the studio with you, and also my pleasure to be on the table after a long time with our guy.
Thank you for having me.
The Jackie Pᴏɪᴜ, you and I visited Owosh. Look, demolition has just started. Again, I'm a bit passionate about this conversation because again, this is my city. This is Lagos. It could be any other place tomorrow. So nobody is immune to what can come when it comes to what I think the leaders of Lagos today think as how to regenerate the city of Lagos. So I'm sure the Jackie Pᴏɪᴜ will lead us into best practices, urban regeneration, how cities are revisited. And I looked at the figure they are committing to building that new city as against what we are doing here, and a lot comes to mind. I told you about the quality of road, the quality of they didn't take it away. So you can have the feel of the old, the new. And when we get to that part of the conversation, I'm sure that we'll discuss a whole lot more on that. But elections in the US, I had to wake up all night to really Danny has defeated the political establishment. It was almost like the first Muslim to be elected mayor for the city of New York. Socialist. I think that what we have shows that, look, going forward, there might be a new political order, especially within the Democratic Party. And when I say supporting, because again, they think it's too far to the left. They see him as a far leftist. He's gone too the against and wise. It's better they embrace this guy. It looks like the future. People like Donald Trump frame it is because the people who call themselves the leftists are always trying to stay in the middle. They don't stand for anything. Whereas the people in the right, with their narrative, will continue to push for more. You can't even satisfy them. So they stay where they stay. They are not even trying to come to the middle. They tell you immigration is bad, they stay there left. Who try to pander to the interest of the right, who stood with his own narrative and ideology and
drove it down.
Despite
without the intimidation from Donald Trump.
A communist. Look, what I believe in is that, look, we have to be able to build a city that takes care of everybody, not a city only for the rich. And what does it say? Look, we can make housing affordable. We can make public transportation affordable. It's talked about imposing more tax. I'm hopeful and I think that, look, to create the needed. Look at what he said about immigrants. And look, this is a city that was built by immigrants, dominated by immigrants, and today will be governed by an immigrant. Again, reshaping the narrative of. It was almost even difficult to get an endorsement from Obama for the young man. Up to now, Jack Schumer never really endorsed him. People like Hillary Clinton never really. Because if you are talking about the Democratic establishment, those are the guys who hold it down there. But you've stayed in the middle for too long. People like Trump keep whitewashing you.
They are not holding it back.
What people are saying is that, look, you stay where you are. Stay where you are. You might call it anything.
Stay there fully. Let them know what you stand for.
Not that, when the Republicans ask for more, you now try to shift a bit. And you can't satisfy them. Party. Because it's not just in New York. There were 2 other governorship seats that were taken by the Democratic Party. Yes.
That's in New
again.
And that state, especially for New Jersey, it used to be red.
Yeah, it used to be
red. It lost to red it went to Donald Trump in the last stand. Sometimes when we copy some of the things that is being done anywhere in the world, we always find a way not making us to sit up as such. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will go into the 2020. It's easier for you to talk to them as the 4 years or some governors, the forward, because whether you like it or not, side forward. In the last 14 months or thereabouts, about 23 National Assembly members have left the Labour Party into APC and to victory. Take it back to 2015. A lot of people that won APC ticket would never have won if not for the wave of Buhari on that ticket. So imagine that you are floating, you are on your own, because all of them have left the Labour Party and they moved into the APC. Should we start pushing for our Juma 2 years?
I think that people are already proposing a bill like that in the National Assembly.
I hope he sees the light of day.
That's another conversation that we should have these elections staggered things, but we don't copy fully. We just do our own. Even
we pick the one that suits our agenda.
We mess it up. We just do our own thing, because again, we are not guided by any real ideology. If you look at some states in the US, even this election, you see them having elections for the office of the Attorney General
on your own.
On your own. So what it means is that you can have a governor in one party and the deputy in another party. The Attorney General is not appointed, so there's no allegiance to the governor. He does his own thing, protecting the rule of law in the state and interpreting it that way. So there are still a lot of things really, that we need to pick from, if we say we want to practice democracy, from the Western democracy that we have copied. You know, we've talked about with vote of a PhD holder.
It's not the same with the vote of someone that is selling corn on your vote.
On your vote. Because, some of the things we discussed here, that people who don't even listen to us, who don't even understand it.
The ones that can divide along tribal and religious sentiment.
The Fᴜဃᴜᴜ agenda like this.
Everybody's off. Everybody's off. It just went that way, and then people said.
So the voting pattern in Lagos in there shows how, you understand. I was telling a few friends that, look, as the APC stands in Lagos, if there's a lot, but don't let us derail the party in summary, a good outing, a good showing. You can see that from yesterday till now, Trump has been very, very quiet, because it's not. It
was really all out for Cuomo,
actually.
Trying to disassociate himself from
he said he's not endorsing me, but what he's doing is that he's against Zoran, who is a communist, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that, look, the message of Zoran, I think, is what the Democratic Party should take going forward. They will be able to bounce back, do a lot of great things, and steady the party ahead of the general elections in 3 years' time.
Well, good enough for a democracy that has for context. The Electoral College is a bit different, kind of unusual, and if you look at it for laymen, you think he's more than Donald Trump. But when the Electoral College started coming in, you knew that this was the establishment, rooting for Donald Trump. And for the first time, there were more than 47 votes, more than any Republican had ever won. And in this time, he won both the popular vote and the electoral vote. A lot of, rating for Joe Biden. And that is an institution that said they won the election even before one single ballot, our Charlie cast. And there's a lot of uniqueness about the U.S. election. I also remember it came in from the U.S. I was like, turn data for me, like, give me internet. And within 30 seconds, and actually, if I registered in JOS and they don't transfer my PVC, I cannot vote in. You've traveled wide, and you've seen this whole midterm conversation that a lot of people are also gradually building up.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation, reshaping our election cycle, one political party to another, and the possible emergence of a one party. Then money and a lot of energy, instead of you waiting for APC Congress, PDP Congress. So there's just one.
So maybe the People's Party can emerge eventually.
Let them all move to one side. So because there's no ideological difference. The Republican, because we lack ideology in Nigerian politics. I remember clearly when Babangida created SDP and NLC, he set out political ideologies. And I remember my late father, when Babangida mentioned SDP and gave a brief introduction, he said, yeah, that's our party.
Straight up.
Socialist in nature.
Socialist in nature. Yeah. So these are just people who are moving on. And it's sad, as much as you are even doing a whole lot of analysis and trying to understand the political space and the ideologies that are going on abroad, our own politicians are not thinking that way. It is the lack of depth analysis into the approach of this present government to governance. Taxation is very practiced, and that some people in mind. And so you say, oh, what's your vision? We want to get this administration out. Getting this administration out is not a goal. You understand?
It's not even a vision. Anyway.
It's not a vision. It's nothing. We are going to pursue delivering certain social services to the people before we talk about taxation. Is it going to come hand in hand? You understand? Because there is no
pay me tax, you get this in return.
You get this in return. Because I'm asking myself, from January 1st, so there's a whole lot of tax initiative coming up. So does that mean that by September, I'll conveniently be able to move my children to a public school
and be up
again?
Will I need to
because there's a functional police.
Or I need to keep my car and use public transport?
Oh, do I have to? So, what is, and again, of course, capitalism has thrived since the return to democracy in Nigeria. The perception our politicians came into governance with is the perception that PPP, government cannot deliver anything. So now to go on the privatization level, and government is no longer thinking to itself that what is it that I need to provide. Government again can no longer build road without saying, okay, I am building it with somebody. We're building. It's as if we have come. Democracy brought us into the thinking that government institutions can never function. Anything government can never deliver.
So then why do we have people in government?
So why do we then have people in government? We should just turn the governance, maybe another form of democracy.
Maybe these are old men who trained us. You probably will wonder why they were all for AWO. We didn't live through the AWO era really. Yeah. But if you had old men who
Mr.
were
Fᴜဃᴜ
politically through the AWO era, relishing stories from my grandfather who trained me at the top,
embedded in his drive, in his living,
ideology, and
the people.
I remember my grandfather told me that when he brought the idea of free education, free, and you see that for everything he says free, he puts qualitative. He doesn't just say free.
You're getting it free.
How do you fund it? Where would the money come from? And he said, oh, you don't worry about funding. I already have a solution to funding. And what did he say? He said, look, you create a society where the poor, the middle class can do lots of transportation, the multidimensional.
It's either you're rich or you're poor now.
And that's not out. So those are the things that we're saying. And I agree with this idea that government cannot do anything.
But you're sitting on trillions. What are you using those monies
for?
When
I was still writing on the property desk, I remember I engaged one of the former incumbents again. I said, oh, you can't do it again. That one that Baba Jakonde did, there's no money to do it. Too. I'm like, those other guys too could have given excuses for not being able to do it. Yeah. Because what they tell you now, if you tell them about, we have more people in government education. At that time, there used to be morning and evening classes. And then Baba said, you know what? No, let everybody go to school in the morning. And there was a problem of, okay, where would the schools? Because the idea of morning and evening was that
to allow space.
There was not enough schools. Build the schools. That was what brought the Jakonde schools. And Baba said, you know what? Since we have teachers, we have the people that can teach you people. Don't worry, we don't need to build complete schools. Yeah. Let's build the poultry.
Please don't put me into that conversation, please. Even if I do, let me agree I don't.
the uncompleted schools.
They were uncompleted. They were half the
open. Yes.
Then you can have coming.
And then the classes were just divided with boards.
They were just divided with boards.
But people were going.
But it was a type of design as at that time to meet a particular need. It didn't go on the flamboyant tangent.
We needed to just achieve this.
It has to be granular
and luxury.
Mega. Were now pulled down at some point, and the government was able to make good use of land to put in place those temporary structures. Imagine that Jakonde didn't do what he did them on ground. But at least with that intervention he did, it for preserve land.
Who was own those properties as we speak? And you hear at that time, DJ, I'm sure you can also help affirm this. That remember, some people said, look, when we got our location, they were building the house while we were monitoring as they were even erecting the structure.
Retired civil servants, most of them.
They were able to, because it was very transparent. I think you pay a little amount of money. There was a mortgage attached of problems. So for every initiative they came up with, one of the major problems was they want to kilo one land in a city that was about 10 billion was said to have already been
for it.
And what people keep saying. Baba Jakonde ruled Lagos only for 4 years and 3 months, right? Yeah. Jakonde.
Whether it's market, his estate, is this.
Yeah. How many of those things did he acquire for himself? That you know. So when you see people after so many years still saying they are always the cap, I know that we have a lot of pretenders who claim to be progressive politics.
To bring all of these good initiatives, but all of those can also thrive in an atmosphere where there is unfortunate for the People's Democratic Party, a party that went into the 2003 president, now a constant shadow of itself. From 2015 when they lost the election, the filler party. I remember there was a time I had Barrister Olusegun join me on the show, the secretary of PDP in Ondo State, and I put it to him, can you rate your political party in your service as an opposition? And he said, we have failed. I mean, it's a clear one. So failing is one thing. Fighting is wicked talking. Tomorrow is 괰ᴏ talking side forward. Two court judgments, one for or against. I did so much of debates when but now we have court judgments that are pushing that debate. Court in Abuja gave a ruling that the proposed 15th and 16th November convention, elective convention should from High Court in Oyo State that says that the convention can go on. So the people whose caucus were state said he was leaving the PDP because he wasn't sure of who was going to sign his. He had a conversation. He said the dancing governor. That was what in your nomination form. If you go for second time, 괰ᴏ was ready to governor Diri. Now he's now in the All Progressive Congress. The PDP at the moment is so
holding on to, and I say nothing. The position of Saraki on any issue.
Is the chairman of the reconciliation committee.
Has he been able to reconcile? Overrated. You know, even if you look at how Saraki emerged, you know, some governor, because again, he was able to hold it down. He became a Senate president. He keeps getting deeper and deeper into crisis, from one crisis to another crisis. I think that this is the end for that party. Because I've always asked the question that, look, I think the PDP should ask themselves that, look, what does Wike really want? Now that it's obvious that, look, for PDP to have any form of stability, Wike must be happy. They have to find that. That's the job they have to now do. Now that he's consistently held the party down, he's continuing to make sure the party does not know then. And I think that when you join a group to push a particular agenda, there should be clarity as to maybe, or you say, once we achieve what we want to, because what was the G5 going to achieve then?
A Southern presidency.
So they worked against the interest of their party. Abi, that look at Atiku. See, now that the ticket went to Atiku, who is a northerner, and he was not smart enough, then was that when they were doing that G5 to work against the interest of Atiku, you know, as an excuse to support Tinubu, did they also sit down to say, once we defeat Atiku, what would then be the future of this G5? You don't understand what I'm saying? At least you sit down to say, okay, we have agreed that Atiku cannot get it. We sell our party, we do anti-party. But did 괰ᴏ ask Wike that, so after we achieve this, what then is next? And now you can see that between the two of them now, it dragged the judiciary into their mess. So it now looks like we can shop for judgment. Judgment in sin. You can see that the Federal High Court in Abuja has a pattern. We saw it with the Rivers crisis. As some people were getting judgment at the Federal High Court in Abuja, Fubara was also getting his own judgment in Rivers State. It has started now. Judgment has come from Abuja and the Federal High Court. Your guess is as good as mine. That look, it must have been
an influence somewhere.
So we now have a situation where, on the same matter, just as we saw in Rivers State, conflicting court judgments, and you can see that Wike, through his media aid, Larry Olayinka has explained that, look, they should continue to get an ex parte order. Okay, I mean, it's not a judgment.
It's not even a judgment.
An ex parte order that something paid judgment that tells you do this and that before you can proceed with your convention. The danger is that if they go ahead with that convention, okay, I mean, the appeal court and Supreme Court will deal with that party. In fact, if they are not careful,
maybe that's another APC.
As we speak now, you have suspension flying right, left, and center. Damagon suspended Anyanwu and his people. Anyanwu suspended Damagon and his people. The new man that Anyanwu appointed as acting chairman took over the party. It's a complete mess. Yes. It's to entrench internal democracy. Same fate is going to befall them. It's just a matter of time. Okay, could no longer hold. There was no alignment of interest, and then people started to break out of the party. Okay, I mean, these people that are going into the APC, there will be a time to align in them now. Let me tell you. Do you know why the APC is at peace and accommodating everybody? Because there seems to be peace. There's an interest
that is achieved or not.
I remember when there was a problem with this man, the chairman that left. And I said that, look, every other person, I'm sure you know that, once that rallying point does not a speakership crisis until the part that I don't think there's any hope. You know, when they ask Wike, what do you want? I like the fact that Shehu asked him, okay, what do you want now?
Come out and tell you that I'm going to work for
But
Tinubu.
we can help very simple, basic analysis. What do you think Wike wants at this time? It should be that the PDP does not present a candidate at all against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
That's crazy.
No, it's obvious. He said it. So the question is, can the political establishment within the party accept that?
And just know that, just like Abga had already said, we are not
Because
feeding.
to visit Seyi Makinde when he lost his elder brother, you know, he said something that when he
Beg.
they just say, and I'm sure the message is that, you know what, Seyi Makinde, you are being too ambitious.
Calm down.
It will not be your turn now to begin to
Win.
Who is that?
You making sure that you are right there on the table.
Just there.
There.
Maybe to negotiate that
Sin.
for visibility.
For visibility. And now for a Labour candidate is very, very important. It may not emerges. You and I know Labour pattern like in ground.
Tell you again.
Even if
This
I
thing
get
is
the ticket
permanent.
of,
Believe?
you don't understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what?
Let me now melembe that melembe.
Melembe.
Let me
I
melembe
understand.
it now.
I just want to do it for
Wisdom.
Yeah.
We'll tell Seyi Makinde, why are you not contesting?
wrong.
Why are you not saying that I want to win of the end of APC? Nigerian politics will always remain like this. Get ready to be seeing changes. Changing principle of a Nigerian politician is there are no permanent friends.
It's just permanent interest.
You know, like
What suits my interest at the moment?
His interest is their personal interest. They are not in allegiance and with somebody for a very long
Support base.
He had very, very defined, and maybe it's to speak to maybe younger politicians, you know, that this way you are saying this politics, but I don't know. It's a litmus test for President Tinubu right now, for you to have in that kitchen that amount of cooks who is not so big. I think he was trying to be very, very careful, the same way Awolowo had a fallout with
Succeeded in doing that, yes.
yeah, and he has but how will he continue? And now, you know, he initially did it a whole lot. You grasp the politics of Kano, Kaduna,
Sokoto.
And everybody's even coming into the party.
Everybody's coming to the party. How do you have that broad understanding of what's going on?
And then alignment of interests.
Alignment of interest, because he's going to be in the room and a word of wisdom and so
All of those
to
issues.
touch all of those. So you're just having that so many cooks in a room and everybody is calm and quiet right now.
Probably.
There's trouble here they will not put down the
will
gas
break
and
the pots
break the
now.
pot and scatter everything.
So it's interesting times ahead. I'm not sympathetic or so like PDP whatever. And
For some weird reason, the PDP seems to have, I think this is like the toughest storm they've had to face. And in some way, they've had leadership change. Under Obasanjo, the PDP had 3 national chairmen and 4 presidents of the Senate in 8 years. As for some ways, they've been able to, just
Weather the
push it
storm
in, and
keep going.
maybe they will this time around. Maybe they will be able to hold on to something.
The chances are very inside the family and doing everything you can
to make sure that the family does not settle.
You understand? You probably never had that kind of figure in PDP that existed before, that was in and is also out and is bent to destroy.
Otale.
Otale, enemy of
You know
the
Yorubas are in words of the Yoruba adage that says that the enemy within is worse than the one that
exactly
that is outside.
because each time I watch Wike speak and he says, "Hey, I'm still said in Jos," when he said PDAPC in Jos, maybe he had Wike in mind.
Know themselves. You know, when I saw, for example, a former governor Yᴏᴜᴛ at an APC rally with which kind of one of the persons that was supposed to pick the nomination form for chairmanship of the party was Samuel Otom. In fact, there are reports that said that was the person Wike was actually rooting for.
Otom.
And just imagine Otom, a member of the G5, as national chairman of the PDP. And you know that I told you that my
think about themselves and what they want.
and leave these politicians alone.
And leave these politicians, APC, PDP. They've said it before. APC, PDP is all the same, and we should not even pay. Yeah.
That would eventually present people
Yes.
that people are going to choose from.
Yes.
So as much as we say we cannot pay attention to
I have to be involved.
It would be these platforms.
Yes, it will be.
You talked about about the Labour Party, for example. This is a party that is a complete disarray.
Yeah.
As we speak, even a Peter Obi that was the rallying point for them can no longer safely identify with that party to it. How far the vehicle will take all of them is what we don't know, because already it's almost like overload.
And more people will still come.
But more people are coming. So now you look at the ADC, the new coalition.
Minute 101 with him. Yeah, the National Policy Secretary of the ADC. And I think a few people will be joining the ADC. That was months ago. And I always have this fear that, one party state does not exactly bid well for the kind of democracy that we think we want to have. But let's see how it goes. Well, let's take a short break. When we come back, it's going to be more of Oworoshoki, and I'm sure a lot of our friends in that community are tuned in and they're ready for us to. You still have to send more messages, because I'm sure that the next line of conversation, I would steer a lot of maybe not exactly unchecked emotions, but it's a reality that the rethinking cities conversation around making housing available and affordable for low earners, mid-income earners, and maybe as to housing for city dwellers. Stick around.
I'm not aware of any form that has been printed.
Here is easy to bring normalcy and redecorate. It's more difficult.
The general elections in 2023 have created conversations and consequences that will live with us for years to come. From the executive to the judiciary, legislature, media, and the people, organized labor, and civil society organizations, issues that will continue to shape the future of our country needs continuous probing and interrogation.
I see the greater objective for the party, and let me tell you, I've told the PDP in some locations that gentlemen must be nurtured, they must be reinvented, they must be true
Join
to their own
Mɪᴅ-Wᴇᴇᴜ Akínyẹ̀dé and site for thought-provoking conversations, voices from the top, and politics on Mainland 98.3 FM, bringing the right perspectives to everything politics.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to Midweek Politics Live from Mainland 98.3 FM. We've used the first half of the show to talk about politics, the PDP election, midterm election in the US, and all of that. But this time around, last week, I spent maybe, good number of hours on Tuesday. Fuad and I and Lìdìmọ́ and Deji. This city is going to march. It should be done properly. Somebody, I was 6 years old, that demolition affected him in Morocco. Now is also affecting him again in Oworoshoki. That he's still struggling with everything that. How did we get here, Deji? Maybe we should just say it exactly as. Maybe people don't exactly know what is going on until they visit those communities. We saw it firsthand in their heads with some of the, and I'm like, how did we get here, Deji? Just drive into this conversation.
Yeah, because I think for me, if not for the fact that I'm in this space, Lagosian, who is just moving around, who is not yet affected by this thing, is good. And since Morocco, since 1975, she has experienced about 3 months to get compensated by Lagos state government. 35 years before then, 10 years as of 45 years ago, she has been experiencing demolition. I went to her house in Shangotedo. I sat down with her. Her husband used to own about over 20 apartments in old Morocco, and the woman said, and the woman has a 2-bedroom flat, and who was crying. The man in Lekki, he
eventually went back.
History in Lagos of this, whatever is happening, and what studies have shown is the fact that they started creating areas for themselves. That's where you started having European reserved area that now later changed and metamorphosed to GRAs. That's the story behind GRA. We all can live personally against every GRA in Lagos. If you got people in that their own enclave, they need these poor people to come and our own people, not as a thing of race now. We're very deliberate about it, and that has always happened. So government now started using policy, you understand, to even further promote these things. So you now start seeing areas witnessing more development than councillor or somebody has to push for it, blah 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 blah. But it's a segregational thing, and government has Obasanjo, which says that all lands belongs to the state government. So in principle, but in practice, we know that we have say, for the interest of the public, we want to override the Alhaji Chief Jakande used so well to now do housing for even the schools. So you could go into somewhere and say, we need this place. I see across the bridge. That when you finish Third Mainland, that bridge that comes into Yaba. On the other side of it, you see an LSDPC estate. The people of Ayetoro there today were the original occupants of that LSDPC. Jakande moved there to Ayetoro. The man said so many people or so many factors. So this is the way, for instance, they did then, and that practice has continued up to now, and that's why Lagos State government will tell you now and say, there's a master plan, there's a overriding public interest. We want to build hospital. Then look at that massive land for private individuals. It's been like a deliberate, other than the era of Alhaji Jakande, it's like you using policy and the instrument of law to acquire land for the benefit of certain group of people. One would have imagined that the majority of the people, the society is like a pyramid. At the top is very small, and at the bottom is very wide. So we are looking at the bottom of the
majority of the people.
You understand? When we want to do something, or what our planning has always been in terms of housing is, you said something before, which was, whenever a project wants to be done, a government official, there's the MRIF. There's the MRIF launched by federal government. I was at a meeting in Abuja at a conference, and somebody stood up and said, clearly this whole idea of MRIF is government giving funding, private sector bringing funding for you, all of us who are seated here, to provide houses for ourselves.
Not for the idea of the people.
No, so that idea, that intervention has nothing to do with the people at the bottom of the pyramid. Someone else said, there's a 25%, there's another part of the funding, there is this, there is that will follow social. An average person doesn't see and believe that everybody has his place. When you say small thing now, the next thing someone is saying, go back to where you're coming from now. What are you doing in Lagos?
The funny is that people that are saying people should go back to where they're coming from, and not even from here.
So that's what someone say. So it's a battle. It's a battle in the city. But what makes cities strive? That guy that is selling suya. Do you want to walk into a mall to buy suya?
Let me ask you a question. Can the rich, the middle class, and low-income earners live together in a community?
It's very.
And we have that kind of mix in a functional community with infrastructure, with everything. Because the picture we paint of those who currently rule Lagos now is that they can't be that mix.
Is that we have I better pass my neighbor.
Yeah, and the person that bought the generator named it a better pass. Not that the people didn't call it a better pass neighbor. It was the person that bought in that community that now named it a better pass my neighbor.
At least I have
show you that mentality that we have.
Yeah.
Because they didn't.
So everybody is on prayer point. They are doing their own NSPPD because all the aim is that let me pray and be better than you. I have escaped. I moved to the island and I'm living in Lekki. Even when you get to the Lekki, your water is not clean. Or maybe last, okay, you move to doing Japan. You see a senior manager in Nigeria who goes to Europe and becomes a cook, a bus driver, a taxi driver, because there is dignity and respect. Nobody.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you?
Yes, sir. We don't have respect for we don't have regard. As I'm coming in here, Did I respect your gate man? Did I say, oh, hello? Did I greet him? Did I greet the receptionist? So that mentality, you see, our politicians, we are the reflections of our politicians.
Absolutely.
That's why tomorrow now, if somebody in your family is Oᴘᴇᴜ in my brother, our politicians. So somebody who sits in Ministry of Housing is not thinking third mainland bridge. When the government is passing, king in Oworo is trying to compete with a king in Ikoyi to say, you understand? So is kings in Lagos are now doing like, okay, have you seen the high rise in my own community? You understand? Do you see what is? I mean, is that the way? Custodians of tradition,
culture and tradition,
custodians of people that should speak for the people. I am not saying that the city must remain whole, tattered and whatever. No, a city is like a growing child. A child is just 5 years. The child grows.
So for the community, put infrastructure, regenerate it, accommodate.
The economy gets better. People get more jobs. They will revamp whatever they need to revamp. They will engage with whoever they need to engage to
regenerate that
community. But you're not even feeding the child. You're not putting in place infrastructure. In fact, your infrastructure that you are putting in place is harming. So take for instance what Governor Bode started in Oworo, that sand filling, and the effect that had on those houses.
The community.
It had on the community. So those houses started sinking. Then Jakande estate on the island, very close to Ilubirin. That
that's phase 2.
Yeah, that Ilubirin housing project. That thing started affecting the flow of water.
The community care phase 2 just on the other side.
Yeah.
I know the sad part, DG, is that look, when Morocco was demolished, the expectation was that there was supposed to be a new Lagos on the Lekki Peninsula. Because nobody followed through with the planning. The issues of vested interest came in. Planning regulations, violations came in. For people, when I say people talk about Lekki is a failed developmental plan for that area. There were violations. Even most of the traditional rulers in the area contributed to how the entire developmental. Did you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's unbelievable that
you pay millions and the road in front of that house.
It's nothing to write home about. Town planning company, when they were doing a presentation of the Lekki master plan, the roads, the storm drainage system that were supposed to exist, so that when it rains, there were supposed to be plans as to how to move water out. Yes, we know that because of the topography and what have you. So, and the low income earners with quality infrastructure and a lot more focus. And like what you have said, and I just look at the whole thing and it's almost like a rat race, the people in authority. And when I say Lagos and the real, they want people bury. Because he thought that, it was just about demolition. I said, no. But we can regenerate this particular community. And there are samples all over the world about how old communities have been and continue to exist like that. But where I get worried, DG, and you've talked about it, is when we now begin to talk about building approval as the basis for demolition.
Well, you are the first person. You are the first journalist. Sorry to cut you short there.
Yes.
It's amazing when journalists now interview people say, "Where's
you are building approval?" Because you don't know.
And no, that is just you. There's some things I call convenient truths. That is you as a government use as a convenience to affect
or
excuse for you to, knowing fully well that
you have not even issued say or vote for people.
Just say
their own government schemes.
They still
even
go to
your own.
boys.
I should be able to face regularization and now getting the necessary document, which you now process over time. But when government now takes advantage of such a, you have been there. Imagine the entire space of where you walk through.
Drive.
So you tell me now that according to this,
and I'm still going to stick with you, Mr. King Pelu. Lagosian. And I said, for someone that understand where Lagos was coming from, if you see the old pictures of Lagos, well, but how do you were in Brazil and then you went to certain communities and then you saw that the communities were evolving, but what made those communities historical were still being retained.
Yeah.
Everybody in Lagos seems to want to have a luxury rise out of the fields, you know, and for 40 years. What do you send them to? At what point does this human or public interest, at what point does it become questionable, Deji?
So humans, I've been hearing the human face, doing it with human face, and it's almost sounding as if whenever you mention doing these things with human face, empathy, help them.
I mean, it looks like the people are helpless now.
People that deserve compensation.
There are some people that some people that
have now been. And I tell them, all the government officials that are demanding for CFO demand. Talking about houses of how many years ago?
In fact, to be honest with you, there are some of those places in terms of the way the lands were sold by the law. Is not even enough. Is not the land that this person.
Can anybody approve those buildings in Lagos Island?
Like what it is what it is. Is the fact that there's a vested interest on that land. And some people are using excuse.
We saw the boys in the community, the youths in the community, showed us different estates that have been proposed. And the funny thing that we even joked about it. So some of these buildings have estate don't do their head. They never know.
Yes, now.
That they've sold the land.
So where we are is the fact that there was a time Lagos government will always say becoming the next Dubai, and that's where we started having our issues.
Yeah.
Yes, and these people go to Europe and say, okay, Europe is like this, whereas they don't even know what's going on in Europe. Where even major
make the city affordable. It's not to say to chase people out of the city. The conversation is how do you make the city affordable?
Even the Oyibo that you are looking at, Dubai is a concept city. It's a different kind of city. Template. You understand? They decided and they picked somewhere and they started building afresh. Even when you talk about Brazil, Brazilians will tell you that don't ever use Brasilia, their capital, as a model of
to Rio de
go
Janeiro.
to Rio, go to Sao Paulo.
Why didn't you use the Lekki Peninsula as a peninsula? It was supposed to be the model city.
Yeah.
So why did the model fail in their hand? Then the Woro people must now suffer.
So this now, island is filled up. Yes, housing development started happening just right in front of Third Mainland Bridge. You saw that sand feeling. Imagine from your kitchen, you just stretch your hand to Third Mainland Bridge. Development that we not have to start asking people: is it a house just by Third Mainland Bridge? And the people of Morocco were now like Makoko. We're like, what's happening here? So because that thing was now going to fence off, and which has always been the discussion that one estate to cover it until the Minister of Works came to Lagos and said, what is going on here? What is this? Then when dredging has affected them.
The dredgings around them.
The dredges around them and even around the entire
communities.
Entire Lagos. That Lagos, I've always said, Lagos is on a sinking sand. The same plans you are also now bringing to Oworonsoki. It is sad and it is very, and this is not, all these things and it's unfortunate because people decided to mix up what was going on in terms of those houses on the island being built on canal, drainage. So people are mixing up the story.
These are existing community already.
This is a different story. So strategically what the government has succeeded in doing is both the one that is needed and the one that all the communities around the National Theatre right now has become a place of interest because National Theatre has been redeveloped.
So everybody now wants something around it.
Build a city. It is first of all for you to recognize that there is a need, that it can never and always be can survive on that, or Lagos cannot survive on that.
Only on that.
Lagos is a mix, and the interest is to say the mass of the people. How do we protect them? The mass of the people, how do
Which
we
is
protect
supposed to
them?
be the job of government.
So you say, oh, I want to build house in Eco Atlantic. Fantastic. Clap for you. Okay. We are going to tax you a levy, social housing development levy.
To help. That was why people were staying on that Dolphin Bridge.
That's what we were saying.
Because those guys were the drivers, the cooks.
The cooks.
Of the rich in that area. But because they cannot even afford to live within that community, they were, if you look at the rent, they said they were paying under the bridge. You will know that these are people that would have been able to afford low-income housing within that community.
Police officer was beaten. A police officer, his house
who resides in that community
should be demolished because it's almost sinking. I speak more to the Amakuru. They'll chase them away. What are they doing there? You know, and that's up there. You know, when the white man,
the community, they told us about people who have lost their lives.
A baby was lost because of the tear gas.
The tear gas that was thrown. Yeah.
I saw deaths. Daniel Aya died. I have it on record. I have it as a documentary. It is online. The young man died from bullets.
Live bullets.
Live bullets? No. Come on. Because of...
What have they been able to even do? And I say that what they have even achieved on the Lekki Peninsula is a failed city.
It's still a city that is
not working. It's not.
We've had all this going on in Lagos. Till today, not one government officer. Government has not spoken about its role, and they built by themselves on their own.
Because I'm trying to understand, how do you collect land use charge for me if I don't have an evidence of that document with you? So what are you charging me on? Yeah. So I mean, there are a lot of questions on social media that would probably need to attend to one way or the other, but I'm more particular. You know, how do you place the people of Oboroshoki right now? Compensation before demolition or demolition after compensation? Because they even told us around the propaganda surrounding the compensation itself that some people that they even gave check were printed checks, they weren't even original checks, that some people even got checks that I want to imagine because the allegations that the king of Oro has been compromised. About a month ago, I had Honorable Mɪᴅ-Wᴇᴇᴜ, the chairman of CᴏFᴜᴜ, live exactly where you were sitting, and I asked him. And somebody also told me later that the current king now used to be the vice chairman of that same look. So, the people of Oboroshoki, what do you think they are asking for? If you say that you don't like the idea of human face, it looks like you are begging. But at this point, they've seen what happened in Marathon too.
Okay, let me quickly speak about the people of Iłasᴜn. And it's been, they say to you that it's been 35 years of battle with the state government since the eviction in Morocco.
That's some months back.
Yeah. Lagos government wanted to go there and destroy Iłasᴜn, but the people in zones. So I think the only zone that they've only done one zone
out of 14.
Today, that is very, very volatile. It's not so easy for you to access. In the developer, we will bring. I mean, look at the way rents are going up, and people are saying, "Oh, rents regularization." No, let people be able to be and work with a developer
that we can afford to
afford to pay for. Not that you come and take our land, 3-bedroom and suite. Must a house be 3-bedroom and suite?
Must it be automated?
Must it be automated? That can be a backdoor that can be beneficial to people and communities the way they want to live. And you see, my standard of living should not necessarily be your own standard of living. And people in Iłasᴜn and Ikota, for instance, even though 35 years later they are still on the matter, they are really fighting for it. You see, I am happy about this attention that we've been able to give to this issue. If not their land. And if anything, don't go and tell them to be collecting COO. Give them the right to build. Issue letters and certificates to the people who are the owners of the land. Say, I am giving you the right to, with this so and so structure, or which is supposed to be not something.
Whether they're going to JVs,
whether you're going to JVs, okay. yeah, I have a certain time, then I can go into contract with somebody and say, do you know what? Hey, this way we build this way. In a city that has housing deficit,
almost 17
you don't have houses. You don't have houses
in
to give to people. Yet the people who manage,
you are still sending them.
You now say that. I mean, what makes sense? It doesn't in any way make sense. It's just this quest and this thing of shining Lagos, blah blah blah, and it's not taking us anywhere. They're empty.
They're empty. Built there without anybody.
So you want to build
occupancy rates there?
I don't even have a problem with it. I love it, and let the embassies build their kidney there.
Let the multinational company let them exist in those places.
Please, can you collect some small money
from them?
So we can have a city that is an ecosystem that everything exists. You understand? And everybody is respected. Of course, cities all over the world, there is the center is more expensive. Morocco, since 35 years ago, you push them. When they were evicted, they were pushed to Iľsān, they were pushed to Ōkọ̀tà. Now you are telling them to Ēkpē. When development gets to Ēkpē, you change them into the water.
So there can't be inclusivity.
No, you can't find a way to accommodate them into the development.
You as to protect certain lands and certain places to say, let us capture this land so that it doesn't.
The next 10 years,
you understand? The way we have captured it, we make sure that it is regulated. So take for instance those Jakonde houses. If government has done the right thing to do, you maintain the things are there, they are maintained. That is the kind of place at a rate that is below market price. You understand? So you can.
You're not telling me that I should not collect more than 200,000 per month.
All those lag homes. Look at how lag homes. Let's even go into some of the specific. Look at those lag homes. When they initially started, it was by the Lagos State and then
and even the government people, servants today,
are occupying those government projects,
can actually afford to buy from whatever has been developed, whether through JVs, through partnerships, or through direct construction by the Lagos State government. And you know that in 35 years
you retire,
you cannot even own a 2-bedroom anywhere.
Just do
build some
something
small
there.
thing, and then in future
you
say development has gotten there and they must build, and then you are demanding for building approval.
Read a few calls and read messages. Side forward, what should the government do? Idea of compensation, especially when you look at how many Ikorodu that used to be a place where nobody, or let me say maybe the government at this point.
Well, JJ has given a very good suggestion, and there are several other options too. But again, this idea of, and there's a problem.
Coming in the middle of the night
to demolish properties, in Konai, create new towns. As we speak, Lagos has still gotten some areas. In fact, there are places, luxury and all of these kinds of
things. But you have to drench.
You have a right to read. This is what we about the story of Sūľiᴅ. That look, the name initially was New Lagos. Have location buildings just behind Stadium Hotel in Sūľiᴅ. They didn't have to chase everybody away without providing alternatives for them. And so when
the thing is relative,
it's discretionary. It's discretionary. And have a state, a city that is inclusive in nature, that takes care of the rich, takes care of the middle class and the low income earners. You don't create a city where you drag
small boys
and then because we are not forward thinking. Development years they've been on that Ilubirin project. They've not even been able to deliver it.
So what you are even trying to aim at in terms of you are trying to build Lagos into the next Dubai
city. And we look at the indices of what you call a functional city and ask whether Lekki has got it in reality.
So luxury housing development, they don't even, a whole lot of those projects actually fail. In fact, some of the developers that worked with government on some of the government projects actually failed because of the not still meeting the need.
What's in
they ask what is it there?
No, there's a vested interest.
Did you see what
like the dynamics of the fact that I think he had. So you see a collaborator or associates of politicians, power, politics, civil service, traditional. That is what is playing out here. We have to challenge this state practice to say that it is no longer admirable over and over and over again in different places in Lagos, Otodogbame, Ilubirin, Makoko, everywhere. It has constantly happened and we need to stop. But it is very, very important that we ask those who are in and fishy happening here. It is people. Even if it gets to the point and you people have one side of it, you build high rise floor, all these things. But because if we continue,
You are supporting what's happening.
so it is that one is politics. And so the politicians are doing this very, 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 very critical into their subvention subsidies happen all over the world.
Yeah.
I said, what is happening here? They said the government wants to be giving them 70,000. I say, they are registering, they are giving them the money. They said, no, they are just opening their accounts right now. 2 days ago, I was driving home, thinking critically and making sure people benefit. Fix schools.
Affordable and
let me
healthcare.
be able to move their children from private school
To public
say
schools.
go to public school. I went to a public school,
I went to
Maryland
public
Comprehensive. You understand? During those days, there was Atlantic Hall, there was international. I went with Agbala. When we get to that point, then yes, immediately I move. So everybody is doing hospitals. Who can go to conveniently private hospital, if not for the issues around expertise? That is why we are doing. People will still tell you at some point a private hospital will still tell you go to a public because there's expertise.
Yes.
But what is going on in terms of the services?
Even public. It's crazy. Well, I like Oboroshoki, and by extension, every of such location in Lagos that are facing this issue from Iłasson to Ikota. On Monday, Mɪᴅ-Wᴇᴇᴜ was in Lagos, and then the people of Oroshoki were protesting, and then they were tear gas to the point that the Lagos State Commissioner of Police verbally declared Mɪᴅ-Wᴇᴇᴜ wanted. And I'm like, even though I didn't do law in school, at the basic of it, understand that there had to be a court judge or a court injunction or something to declare someone wanted. But the commissioner of police said it on TV that I'm declaring Mɪᴅ-Wᴇᴜ wanted for distortion of public peace, and I said, wow. I'm declaring it wanted.
Just on that,
we saw videos of tear gas being used on the people of Oroshoki again. And
he's in a vehicle making me. He should come down.
They should come down and talk to her. The same Mɪᴅ-Wᴇᴜ was on TV a day after. And for those of us that covered the last local government election in Nigeria, in Lagos rather, the chairman of Agege local government has resigned, citing health challenges. So I remember his first name.
I think they call him Vinod or something.
Vinod, yes. He's been acting as chairman of Agege local government, but now with the resignation of the chairman, he becomes
the Agege person.
because
you know what he told me? That was the plan.
Because I followed the election and the campaign in Agege. There was never a time where this
had been struggling with his health, and I look, presenting him was a decoy to allow this to eventually.
Interesting.
Congratulations to the young man, has been doing well since acting as chairman. And
okay, let's because if you're just joining us, it's been the last 2 hours, 1 to 3 p.m. We've talked about a lot of things on the show today. The Pᴏ, the co-founder of Rethinking Cities Initiative, is live with us in the studio to talk about the whole focus on Oroshoki. The demolition issue has been hot on the debate. I would say to also get involved with that conversation. Side fact is also, we've talked about the whole drama within the People's Democratic Party. The national convention for 15th and 16th of November should not hold. Then another one from Oyo State yesterday says the convention should hold. We talked about all of those. And let's pick some calls. 0913. Please, the calls today will be just 1 minute. 1 minute. I wouldn't like to cut people off on the show today. Okay. My daddy bought a flat in Jakonde Estate Mile 2 at 5,000 in 1980. Back then. Now there is 2-bedroom flat building inside Jakonde Estate by the Lagos State government that is 27 million naira. That is from Sheyi Arem. But the house is still there in my 2 estate. There is a tenant there from 1999 till now. The Lagos State government is building high-cost estate within the same estate of civil servants who served and retired without any landed property from the state government or federal government. In fact, I contributed to NHF from Ikotun. Nigerian democracy is in need of absolute reform. As you said, we need a midterm election that will put the popularity of the government in power to test. What will have to change as for the PDP, the same people who worked together that kicked out Atiku are now fighting themselves. We can stole them. Melembe. Okay, we got a bit late. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, Mr. Pé. Good afternoon, sir. Git from Bariga. Mr. Fab, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
And our guest, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. The question is, the government to feel what the people are feeling. Because if they don't feel it, they will take it to Bariga. Bariga is not far away from Ugo. It moves to Bariga. They need to feel it. They are talking about compensation after demolition. This is a Miss Dama that have gone back to his village. I know the certain woman there. She works there at no shelter. The education of her child too has been cut short.
Thank you very much. The government needs to feel. I was streaming live from that platform as well. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good evening.
You're welcome.
So I just want to tell you, people like him, he should negotiate with the state government. Let them negotiate and sit down with the state government. But they don't say that they will all this like
don't very much is that they need from the people. Let them to thank you very much. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You're welcome.
China supporting Nigeria. We need more people to support Nigeria. We need China, we need Russia, we need France. So what now? So America should visit to Nigeria. We need assistance, not threatening. And finally, PDP. We can support you for months and we know what is going on with PDP. We see Atiku, all of them, believe PDP. What do we expect from the government? If all of us sit around.
Just Prince Pius was not listening. Just call for calling sake.
Ushi Wilfred Obraba on Facebook says, good afternoon. John Bernardo is asking, what is the main reason for that Oroshoki demolition achieve his own advantage? At the point, and to the people of Oroshoki, may Almighty God be with them in these trying times. Okay. Interesting. I said the fear of Donald Trump is the beginning of a new Port Harcourt. May God help Nigeria. Let's talk to one caller first before the other call comes in. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
You're
The inscript will never go. The implication of what is happening in Lagos or Sheki in particular, you understand? It will get back of insecurity later. You can't tell me to send me out. I had one woman that she said her daughter woke her up around 1 a.m. That the bulldozers are around. Now, this happened right at the presence of those small children. You get me? And those buildings were replaced by. If you are driving a good car, those children will look at you that down there, make himself someone there, that if you need one kobo, you must come to him. That is our heritage now became under the control of politicians. We are in a very big trouble.
Thank you, Bera. Mr. Wike is not ready for anybody's view but his own. He doesn't care to know how. Last call. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Gokwe.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. My name is Lawat Afi. I'm calling from Sᴜᴜ.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Ogafa, don't get angry this afternoon. To vote, the Boko Sebe, empowerment and the rest. That's what they get money for. Oh, what do I want to gather that money to do all those things? Thank you, my brother Jari.
Year 2000, and then they brought the year 2000 would never come. Today, instead of building a house for the citizens, they are demolishing the city. We've eaten deep into the buzz, and I mean, apologies, you guys, but you enjoyed that one for the next 45 minutes. Aside from we need to leave, 30 seconds. I mean, it's crazy, and I'm hoping that the people of Oroshoki will.
Homelessness, widespread poverty, high cost of living, and not expect that we're going to be dealing with serious issues of insecurity. These things are intertwined. You know, one leads to the other. And now that Donald Trump is focusing on Nigeria, you can see the government. This idea of being reactive, you know, we are reactionary. The reality is that, look, until we leave a lot of people out of poverty, out of homelessness, we can't solve the problem of insecurity.
Thank you very much. Afiz Adebayo says, good afternoon, how costly it is.
Yeah, so they built Lagos homes, you know, the same design across everywhere. Yeah. And then that's the outskirts. And then
good conversation. I mean, thank you so much, first off, for finding time. And then let me also extend our heartfelt, you know, I think we were
the main party.
The one they done was a big party. We were in Oroshoki now, we couldn't go. Yeah. And the people of Oroshoki also would continue to hold on to what is really super there for them. But I mean, in 1 minute, what would you advise the people?
Yeah, it's actually going to get to, it go touch everybody.
like they say,
you know, it's so sad that up till now, the Lagos State governor, quote and unquote, maintain peace and law and order. and to Magodo the other day. I am the mighty of Lagos for some group of people that they are not our class. They don't against this kind of thinking. The fact that somebody doesn't have like you doesn't mean that they don't deserve. They cannot exist. They cannot live in the city. No. That shouldn't be.
Thank you so much. Let me say we're sorry for what we're talking about. Thank you so much. We'll do this again next week. Gospel and our lives by 4 p.m. is through the world of sport. It's Champions League night.